Greetings. You're watching Septum Sen versus the World. I'm Septum Sen and this is Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
So, this time we're going to be talking about pickups once again. Not a lot going on in the sales world. I think Criterion's sale at Barnes & Noble is petering out. Probably be gone soon. Right Stuff is doing some other sale, but they're back to their periods of regular sales.
Right.
Where usually Right Stuff does about 20 to 30% off of the retail price. Or not retail price, the price that they suggested retail, which typically only Barnes & Noble and a couple other places, maybe Second and Charles, charge new. And then their sales are usually about another 10% off, I'd say, which is about 10, maybe 20% off. And so, it's still okay, but, those go on throughout the year. But their big one is sadly done. But not here. Here we get to live it half the year by, because I'm going to be talking about it probably for the next, 3 to 4 months. Until the next big Right Stuff sale, because I've got so much of it. I'm only giving trickles because I'm conserving.
Yeah.
So this week, I don't know. Do you know of any big sales going on right now?
Not really, other than what you mentioned.
I mean, it seems like we're at that start of the year again. You know what I'm talking about, where it's like everything is high priced, getting ready for that November stuff.
Yeah. Well, I always hope, and with Right Stuff, they're so unpredictable. They just randomly do sales. And this year, the thing seems to be quick little flash sales that are not, earth-shattering, but they're themed, they did one over the weekend. I keep hoping for the kind of Sentai flash sale they did last year, where the stuff was awesome. And 2 years ago in August, they did a sale for NIS America. So, who knows? But I definitely have an NIS theme this week, playing off of what I got from that sale, but it'll be fun.
Shiny.
Yeah, very shiny. So you want me to start?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, cool. Well, the first thing I got, and we've mentioned before in the previous videos, I think we almost led off with both picking up Brave 10. As we've mentioned before, NIS does really cool sets, and when they're usually pretty pricey, but still for collector's editions, pretty reasonable. But unfortunately, their limited editions tend to be very limited, and they tend to go out of print very quickly. And sometimes they don't. And when they don't, you can get really good prices if you're patient. And on this sale, Right Stuff offered several of them at low prices, Brave 10 being one of the lowest. But the other one that I picked up for $15 is actually a movie, but it comes fully decked out in one of these awesome tabletop boxes.
Oh, definitely.
It's a movie called Fuse, Memoirs of a Huntress.
See that shiny?
It's so shiny. There we go. That's a little better. But anyway, so that's the front. There's the back. But like I say, full-blown tabletop, with the booklets and everything. But this is a movie that is supposedly really good, and I don't know much about it. I know that it has something to do with hunting creatures known as Fuse, and this young lady from the mountains is called to service, and she ends up meeting one, and, I don't really know where it goes from there. I'm very much looking forward to seeing this eventually. But I have heard very good things about it, and to get such an awesome edition of a movie for what is basically retail price for a movie, it's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's a good price. Right Stuff's I've been on Right Stuff so often this past month, it shows up on my Facebook profile, and that one showed up as $44. So that was one heck of a deal that you got there. That's all I know about it. I was tempted by it, but I decided not to. Have to draw the line somewhere, and some of these things you'll see as that way. Yeah. So let's bring up another topic. Some place that you don't usually see people buying anime from, Walmart. And usually, Walmart does not have the best price. on anime. But in this case, Walmart did. Now, people have pointed out to me online that there's reasons for that. But Walmart has an exclusive that you wouldn't have thought of, which
Really?
is this one. This is the Attack on Titan Junior High. Now, I've seen this over and over again at Walmart. There is a regular edition that's a DVD Blu-ray combo pack, which is about $40 for $50 depending on where you get it and when you get it. And this one was $30, and it's just the DVD, but it is oddly enough a Walmart exclusive, according to the way it was advertised. Anyway, a lot of other people have also confirmed that this is Walmart exclusive. If y'all note that it isn't Walmart exclusive, feel free to comment down below. I usually do answer comments unless they are spamming, and then I don't. But I've been curious about this. I like Attack on Titan. I've debated waiting to watch Season 2. Now that I've caught up to Steven Universe, I probably will start on that, or My Hero Academia. I'm not sure yet. But I don't know a lot about this. I know this is like kind of the chibi comedy version of Attack on Titan. As I said, it wasn't extremely well rated, but it's worth rounding out the set. I was actually impressed with Attack on Titan. When I saw it, I felt like I wanted more when it came to the end. And now I'm back to the same feeling I had about Attack on Titan before, which was, why did I like this so much? I don't know. I'm not really that interested. And I'm sure I'll get an episode or two in, and I'll be like, oh, that's why. I love this show again. Yay! But this is by Funimation. And, again, decent quality sets.
I didn't realize that was a Walmart release. That's
It
interesting.
is a Walmart release, believe it or not.
I'm so tempted to get that just because I have this weird thing where I like to get stuff from Walmart because it just seems messed up that I got it from Walmart. It rarely happens with anime, but every now and then, But yeah, I've only seen a couple episodes of the regular series, and it's one of those like phenomenally big series that I'm just haven't gotten into it. But I liked what I saw. Yeah. And now I'd like to watch it because I've actually been reading the manga and of this one. Not the regular one. I have not done that one yet, although I'm tempted to try it. But I've read the first 2 volumes, and I have to say it is silly and at times pretty sophomoric. But it's like certain Funimation releases where the dub cast clearly just says, you know what? The hell with fidelity to the script. We're just going to have fun. I feel like the people that translated the manga were operating under that. And I'm sure they probably do for the show, too. And this might be one where I'd want to see the dub. Because Funimation does do good English dubs, especially when they don't care about fidelity. If they're just having fun, they sometimes have really good dubs. And so, I'm curious about that. I don't expect great things, but I expect to be amused.
Terrible things, but great things indeed.
Yes. Terrible things.
Actually, I only have 2 anime on this particular run.
Oh, isn't that
That's
something?
weird.
Mine's all anime. Is it up to me?
Mm-hmm.
So, he was talking about drawing the line somewhere, and there was a lot of NIS on this sale. A lot of it. And fortunately, I already own some of what I wanted. Unfortunately, and fortunately, unfortunately because I really want them, but fortunately from a budget perspective, several of the ones I really wanted were not available in the premium edition. So I came this close to getting the Hanasoko Iroha movie, and I decided against it. And I came this close to getting Love Live School Idol Project Season 2, decided against it. In both cases, I have the other 2 parts in premium. With Hanasako Iroha, getting the movie standard, okay, that works. I just didn't want to pay $30 for it at this point in time. But Love Live, it would be really annoying to have Season 1 premium, Season 2 regular, movie premium. But both series, from what I've seen, which is one episode of the one and one season of the other, great series. So they were tempting. The one standard I did end up getting was they had a bundle. And I'm going to count these separate because technically one happened and then the other is sort of a sequel / spin-off. But they had one bundle that was, $45 for 2 items. So any 2 items from their catalog for $45, you already got a decent deal. But this is a very, very, very highly rated movie. One I really want to see. It's a movie called The Princess and the Pilot.
Ooh,
And that's, there you go. You can kind of see it there. And this is, their standard. It's really nothing fancy. It comes in a clear case, which is kind of weird for Blu-ray. Criterion's the only other company I know of that does that. But it's still, it's a nice Blu-ray release of, like I said, a very highly rated movie. It's supposed to be really good. Basically about a princess and the pilot who has to get her from point A to point B but there's a lot of complicating factors, a lot of political intrigue and all this. It's supposed to be like a combination, kind of a love story, but also a political drama sort of. So something I tend to enjoy those kind of stories, I think. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And it was one that I was both that and Fuse. I thought about pre-ordering, and I just sat about it. I just sat on them and sat on them and sat on them, and I'm a little disappointed to have the standard, but could do worse. It's good to have it in some form.
I still, that's probably one of the ones I've kicked myself more for not getting that bundle. I liked what I saw about the previews. I've actually seen the previews for Princess and the Pilot, and it does look like a very interesting series. It was not one of their better sellers, though. I mean, it went on sale quite a few times before this one, and probably the standard will go on sale again, and maybe I'll pick it up at that point. But still, it does look like a fun series. I mean, anything like that is there. I don't know why I keep thinking Porco Rosso because of that. That just, maybe it's...
Well, it's about a pilot.
Yeah.
And from the art, there is a little bit of a Ghibli-ish vibe there, although it reminds me more of Makoto Shinkai from the art, so I don't know. That'd be fun.
I don't know. I keep thinking Sky Crawlers.
Ugh.
But probably not as depressing.
Fun is not a word I'd use for that one. It's good.
Yeah.
Really good. But
well, again, terrible things, but great. This is coming from a different sale, believe it or not. And everything on this pile actually came from a sale or an offshoot of a sale. Some of you are familiar with Kino as a producer, and I think I've talked about them before when I talked about sales. And finally, my sale items have come in. My ship has arrived, and thus the item that I mainly got this for, this one and one I got from my father, which I can say because I'm not actually keeping it, which is Remo Williams. I wanted to get it, but I just couldn't justify it. Now this one I just been interested in because I wanted the original sequel to The Blob, which is Beware the Blob. The sequel that comes where, of course, at the end of the first movie, and if you haven't seen the first Blob, shame on you. And it is a classic. You can get the original in Criterion. And the theme song alone is worth watching it for. And oddly enough, the movie does have a creepy vibe to it. It's very well done. The song doesn't quite match it. But at the same time, it's worth seeing. So, spoiler alert. Everybody ready? Alright. At the end of the first Blob movie, the Blob gets frozen. And, well, that's the end of it. Until this movie, where somebody picks off a chunk of it to study, And, well, I'm sure you can see how things might go downhill from there. I haven't seen this fully yet. I've just read about it. I've debated getting it. And then it went for sale under $10. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Kino actually is usually fairly decent priced, but it can run pricey. So it's nice seeing a sale. It's much like Shout Factory. You don't see sales often. So it's kind of good to get a sale when you can. So it was worth picking up. I do look forward to it. I don't know if you've seen any of the Blob movies. I mean, there were like two major ones. I mean, that one and the remake of it, which scarred me at my youth because of the gore level of that second one. The first one, the gore level really wasn't,
That scene you described at the start of this one sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know if maybe when I was a kid or a young adult I saw part of it. I feel like I've seen the first one once, but I couldn't swear to it.
Oh, it's, once you hear the theme song, it's like unforgettable. I mean, it's sort of like this sort of beach music.
Unforgettable? That would be an interesting theme for that.
Hey, well, it was unforgettable.
Wouldn't that be something?
But, on Blu-ray, I'm not sure it deserves the Blu-ray treatment. It's like a 70s film, so, yeah. I do like my 70s horror and slashers. I mean, you can see I've got Feast up there, which is pretty much right there. That's like the ultimate 70s slasher set. So, I guess that's it for this one.
All right. Good
deal. And move on.
All right. So now we have the second part of that bundle. The one that, like I said, it's related, but I think almost all the characters are different, I think. But this came bundled with The Princess and the Pilot, and it's a show called The Pilot's Love Song.
That's one of their newer boxings.
Yeah. So this is what they have moved to. Instead of those big coffee table boxes, they just have these really fancy-looking boxes. They still have the discs are now in regular jewel cases. They still have a hardcover book, so it's still a very cool looking set, and very sturdy set. All things considered, they make very sturdy sets. But yeah, so this one, like I said, I know that it involves aviation. And it looks from the artwork like it's in the same vein, but maybe not quite. They may not have had quite the budget that the movie might have had. But this is a reasonably well-regarded series. And again, I was thinking about it, but once I had the opportunity to get both of them for basically what this would have sold for originally, kind of hard to say no to it. So, yeah.
Actually, I have two in that style. One of which is going to come up in here later on, so I won't ruin that. The other one is Ginn Skin.
Right?
Yep, it's
there.
over there in the background. And
you couldn't see it. There we go. I'm pointing at it there. Ginn Skin's second series.
Yeah, it's right next to that Alice Cooper set and the one that...
right.
And the Gaunt's sets,
right?
Which very similar to, I mean, the Next Generation or something like that, which ended out the story, which is good.
Ginn Skin's great series.
Yep. Though read the manga before you watch or actually you can watch the show and then read the manga, but the manga is much better, and that's from somebody who prefers the anime for most things. But yeah, those are nice. If you want to hurt somebody, just throw one of those at them, and that'll do it down.
Yeah.
So this next one is not a sale item. It is an item I got off of Amazon, but it comes from a sale. Right Stuff had a lot of their horror DVDs on major sale. So like for $1, I picked up a Muck Train. A Muck Train, I found out, is actually not the original title, which IMDb informed me of. The original title is Beyond the Door Part 3. And I'm like, crap, what are Part 2 and Part 1? So, I have gotten for $4 Beyond the Door, the original one. So, this is the only one in the set that actually bears the name Beyond the Door. The other ones are Shock and Amok Train. If you get lucky enough to have Beyond the Door 3 with the original casing, you've got a nice out-of-print DVD. I have learned that very well. This is by somebody. I want to say it's by an Italian director.
It says Italian made.
Yeah, so, and again, horror, not sure a lot about this, about devil worship and possession and stuff like that. But I really just got this mainly because I don't like having part 3 of something and having that be my only thing. I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to my collecting. So I will collect even if the rest of the series is inferior, hence Bleach behind me. I had the good part of the series, which is those first 3 volumes, the white one, the blue one, and the red one. That's it.
Any opportunity to knock Bleach.
I mean, the rest of the story is okay, and I will do a review of Bleach one of these days. But there's so much filler in there, it kind of ruins it for you as it goes from part 4 on. And the same thing goes with certain other things, like, I'm trying to think of some other ones that I collected all of. I mean, I've got all the Friday the 13th movies, all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but a lot of them have their, their quirkiness. So, again, I like having complete sets. Except for Disney sequels. I don't count those as real sequels. Except for the Aladdin sequels. I like the Aladdin sequels.
And Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah, Rescuers Down Under as well. But I think did that actually get a theater release?
I think it might have.
So, I think that actually was a legit sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, the Aladdin ones, I think the third one, Prince of Thieves, did get a theatrical release.
Yeah.
I know that the second one, Return of Jafar, did not.
Even though it was much better than the third one.
Even though Robin Williams did not play the genie. If you weren't paying attention to it, you would actually not notice. So, any case, that's that kind of phenomenon that I'm looking at. Now, we'll see if this is any good. I don't say I'm going to be seeing it anytime soon. I'm not going to make any promises. But, yeah, now I've got part 1 and part 3. Maybe I'll come up with part 2 sometime.
Interesting.
Yep.
Can't say I usually go for the demon worship stuff either, but...
Ooh.
Alright, so my next one is another one that I had eyed several times, and I finally thought I'd bite the bullet and go for it. NIS put this one, Right Stuff, put this NIS set up for $35 this time around.
Wow.
But this is a series called If Her Flag Breaks.
That's a cool looking set.
It is very colorful. Very colorful.
So how many of those big ones does that make it for you?
Of this kind of set?
Yeah.
Well, if you count,
3?
If you count Cardcaptor Sakura, which is like a double-sized one, it's the 3 I have here, and I have the 2 you have, and
oh yeah, you got
there's another one, Eccentric Family. I don't.
So.
Yeah. But anyway, this one I've not seen this show either. I know relatively little about it. I know the main guy was in an accident, like a major tragedy. His ship went down or something. And they gave him the ability to see flags over people's heads, which would let him know something about them. If he sees a black flag, they're going to die, that sort of thing. And I basically, from what I understand, is it's sort of a harem comedy kind of series. So probably not the greatest show ever, but it's an interesting premise and it's colorful, and I'm curious to see it.
Well, he gained a harem power. I mean, flags. I mean, when you're able to see the flags, it's like right there, like all the dating sims.
And actually, it's my understanding they play with that in the series. Like, apparently there's one character that he actually sees an annoying flag over.
You see, now, to me, I look at this, and the first thing I thought was like, so, he died in a ship accident, so now he has the power to ship couples. He ships, so you see. Okay. And, it's like, okay, these two belong together. Okay, that fell flat. But, So I do envy you
could
that
say
nice
it's foundered. Yeah.
But priorities.
Right.
Oh, and on next, yes. I was like, watching, like, oh, okay, you got. No, like, oh, wait, I've got one.
Yeah, you got one.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
All right, so I've got the rest of this series so far, and I've watched the movies, and I've watched pretty much everything on it except for one of the remakes that they did. And so when it finally came out, I told people, which I've got several people that I know love this series. They keep saying, when are you going to watch it? When are you going to watch it? I say, when it comes out on physical media. And I'm thinking, it'll never come out on physical media. And little that I know, I was wrong. And so, this is Dragon Ball Super.
Mm.
And the one I haven't seen yet is Dragon Ball Kai. I started that. And I don't want to pay $40 a volume for 8 volumes of a series that basically tells the same story that I've already got, that's slightly abridged. So this, however, is a new story. It continues on between Z and GT and kind of retcons GT out and then says that GT sort of fits in and then doesn't fit in. And I still am not quite sure whether GT is officially out or not, but Super is definitely in. And from what I've heard, this portion of the series, which is the first part, is what starts to cover the one of the 2 movies. I think the War of the Gods or something like that. And then the next part starts to cover the second movie, which is the other one that they did. And
are you talking about the recent?
The recent movies.
Battle of Gods and Resurrection F?
Yeah, and this one covers Battle of the Gods over, and I guess in a longer format, a little bit more to it story wise. So I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but I feel like I should continue to collect this series. Just like I eventually may get Kai, but I'm not willing to pay more than $10 a volume for Dragon Ball Kai. So, and even then I'm thinking, but that's still $80. So, I'm willing to work on this. I'm curious. Everybody keeps telling me, you need to see it. So I will watch it and see what I think of it. What do you think of Super? I know you've seen the movies.
Yeah, actually, I come to Dragon Ball with a very unusual background. I have seen the first series all the way through twice, but none of the movies. I have not seen a single episode of Z, Kai, GT, Super, any of those. But I've seen Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F. Actually, I think I've seen the second one. I think I've seen Resurrection F twice.
Oh.
I actually got to see it in theaters, which was pretty cool. And I have to admit, that opening scene where you get to see Frieza's personal hell just cracked me up. Even though I didn't know Frieza, I was like, that is a great hell for an evil bastard character. But it's a fun, what I've seen, it's a fun series. But I have not been able, much like with, as we mentioned on the other video tonight with One Piece, these big behemoth series, I don't get into them easily because I want to complete them once I start. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard to do that with these really big series.
Yeah, like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach.
Yes. Well, I have seen the first Naruto. I've seen the first series, but I've not watched Shippuden. And a lot of it is the same thing. It's not that I don't want to. It's just, it's much easier to get into a 13 or 26 or 27 episode series, or even a somewhat longer one one day. But I'm curious. Hadn't realized they'd retold the movies in that series.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see the longer versions because they were fun movies.
And then they continue on after that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
It's like there's evil Goku and some other stuff like that. So next up, I guess.
Okay. Well, my last one tonight is another NIS one, and if they don't do another major sale on this, then it'll probably be at least November before I get any more of these. In fact, this is most of the rest of what I got from the Right Stuff sale. I have one more franchise I'm going to bring in next week.
Woo.
But this here is one that I actually had a lot of interest in when they first announced it. I looked it up and I'm like, that looks like a good show. And I just didn't get around to getting it then. And so now I got it for $35, so I'm glad I waited. But it's a show called My Little Monster.
Oh,
There you go. And basically, I had it right the first time.
Dun, dun, dun.
And once again, it's one of those, with the booklets. And they call the book here My Little Monster Official Study Guide. But basically, my understanding is that this is one of those series of kind of like their flagship, NIS's flagship title, Toradora. It's kind of, from what I understand, in that vein of like a mismatched pair that kind of get thrown together and have to make the best of the situation, I guess you could say. I really don't know too many specifics about it, but I do know that it's a very highly rated series. A&N basically gushed about it when they did their reviews. It's a very, very... I'm very interested in seeing this one, and I'm looking forward to it, definitely. Yeah.
I want to know about the chicken.
Chicken?
Show the chicken.
There's a
the
chicken? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a chicken.
I want to know his backstory. What are his motivations?
Exactly. Well, obviously he's shifty. I mean, look at her. She looks scared for her life.
I mean, there was that bird in Tomoko Market. Maybe this one has a relation of some sort to that bird. And, they're...
that was a creepy bird.
Then they're going to be working together. I don't know.
Who knows? Hey, if this has any relation to Tomoko Market, that's a point in its favor, because I love that series.
That's actually pretty good. What was the price you got on that one?
$35.
Those aren't bad prices for those.
No. Yeah, it's like I said, I had to forego a lot of the standard sets I really wanted. I still don't have a Lull in the Sea, and I still don't have Pandora Hearts, and there's a couple others, but...
I invested in two major series, which kind of ended my ability to buy anything by the end. And that will be coming. They actually just said shipped on that last big order. And then the rest of it's just pre-orders that I usually got, that either got on the sale or pre-orders. There, I actually found out that I pre-ordered Naruto Shippuden 32 and One Piece 20 2 times. So I rectified that today. And only once now. I mean, they aren't out yet, but I
You mean you don't want a double of a One Piece volume? I'm shocked.
I know. Or Naruto Shippuden volume. I've been watching nothing but Naruto Shippuden for the last month and a half, catching up to that volume 31, and then realizing that it wasn't 380 that actually ended the manga.
Mm-hmm.
It was episode 480 that ended the episode in the manga, and much like Bleach, it was heavy in the filler. But I'll be glad to actually get through that one eventually. I still have to get through the movies, and then I'm finally done. But I have a couple of other things that want to prioritize that. Some used stuff that will eventually show up here, but I never add used into my collection or talk about picking up until I've tested it. You never know with used stuff. Second and Charles isn't too bad, but they have sold me some messed up stuff before. And I want to make sure that it is in good condition. So, eventually. But, my current watching is Beelzebub, if you know what I'm talking about with that series. It's
that was a fun show.
And once I've gotten to the end of that, then I'm going to be moving into that used pile. So who knows, maybe you'll see some of that coming up. So, last on my list. Another Kino sale, actually. This is an Oscar winner. I have the goal of having every Oscar-winning film in my collection, so that I can say I've got a really awesome collection. Because people would look at this and say, no, this is kind of a crap collection,
Yeah, obviously.
So, I've got here Hurricane. For those of you who are not familiar with Hurricane, don't worry, I'm not that much either.
The Hurt.
I mean, you've got Dorothy Lamour, John Hall, Mary Astor, you know, a lot of those people from the old days.
Which old day is it?
Like
1937.
1930,
Wow.
1937.
So old.
So, you know, again, it's one that I want to see. I've had this on my list for a while. Again, the Kino sale had it for under 10. I think it was closer to $5. It was like $5 for a Blu-ray that's probably done well because Kino does a good job cleaning up their stuff. So a Blu-ray that's cleaned up well of a movie I need for the Oscars, definitely worth keeping. I don't really have a lot to say about it other than it is a part of my must-have in my collection, and it will be filed. Finally, I'll be able to file these 5. So
what did it win the Oscar for?
Good question. It's been... I would have been able to tell you like a couple of weeks ago when I actually had it.
Doesn't say on there?
I don't see it. It says something about arsenic and old lace, but which also...
that was a fun one.
I don't know what it is about that one, but I've had a hard time watching that one. Maybe it was because of the first interaction I've had with arsenic and old lace through when I was in drama class. It just, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not really seeing what it was Oscarized for, but it did get an Oscar. It was actually nominated for 2 others, I know that much. And that's pretty cool, as it is. So with that, that's it for this week's pickup. Again, if you like what you see, well, hit like, comment, subscribe, share. We're moving up. Thanks to my friends here at the Rebel Gaming Club, we've actually moved up to 8 subscribers. And when we hit 10, I'm going to do a full collection tour. Eventually, the collection is going to take a move, and that's going to be interesting. Probably within the next 6 months, you're going to start seeing these shelves look barer and barer. And it's not because I'm selling them off, though, who knows, maybe I will have to sell them off, but no plans in the immediate future. But you'll see the shelves get barer and barer, and it'll be moved. So, with that, I will wish you all well, and have a good one.
I will.